Hey friends, I don't know how long I'm gonna be sitting here, y'all. I'm in Norfolk and it's just so much going on the street, but I always come to you guys like when I'm feeling intense things. And something I learned some news today that just kind of like struck me, honestly. And I was on the phone with somebody when it came on, that was my own fault for multitasking. I was on the phone, I was talking, and I was just scrolling Facebook, and I saw this post, and I was just like, oh my God. I didn't even like believe it, honestly. So I spent over 5 years in the television business, and television news is really not a big world, honestly. And like after, especially when you start moving up the top 100 market, you start to get to know certain people and stuff like that. And I worked for the #1 station in Hampton Roads, and that station has a lot of fame, and it's really regarded as like putting people on an amazing career path. And so, some people got to know me as a reporter, and so some of, we would all follow each other and stuff like that. And when I left the business because of my depression, I just disappeared for like 2 years. When I came back on, I started writing about mental health and things like that, and then that connected me to journalists in a different way. I had a lot of journalists who were sharing with me their mental health struggles, that they never had shared with anyone before. It was those experiences that like really propelled me to, keep speaking, keep writing, and really to be a really candid, transparent mental health speaker. I'm just talking really slow because I literally just learned this news a couple hours ago, and I'm just processing the feelings. So many times in life I try to swallow it or work through it or whatever, but I've just come to learn that like you just have to feel the feelings, and I just feel really low. And so let me just get to it. I'm gonna take out my iPad because I want to read to you what this woman wrote to me in 2016. I'm not gonna read all of it, but I'm gonna read part of it. Today I found out that a 35-year-old journalist who was in the television business for a while and went freelance and was doing amazing things as an influencer passed away at the age of 35. She died of anaphylactic shock, which is something that I've experienced a lot since my teens. Anaphylactic shock, the layman's way of explaining it is like when you have like an allergic reaction and it like lowers your immune system, it can close your airway and things like that. And her name was Ayesha Faines. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've never met her in real life. I followed her on Instagram, I followed her on Facebook, and when I started talking about my mental health journey, she reached out to me and wrote me an amazing message. And all throughout the time from 2016 to the present, she was just always encouraging me, like if you want, you can make your own career in television and entertainment now. You don't need a station, like you're so bright. And she would comment on some of the things. I just saw that headline today, and I just said, God, why? Why? It's just like not fair. And part of my PTSD is just like kind of, and my anxiety, I guess, is just being kind of paranoid that like there's doom and gloom around the corner, and thinking about all the ways I could die. I know that's so morbid, and anaphylactic shock is one of them. And it's like I never met this woman in person, but I just felt like a connection to her, and the fact that she went out of her way. And I knew I immediately wanted to go back and read that message that she wrote me in 2016. And I want to read part of it to you because it just reflects what a beautiful spirit this woman was. So it was on Facebook, and this is why it's good to sometimes not delete the things that you have on Facebook for moments like this. So you can just go and look back and things like that. So, you know, like in your messenger, you can just go and search it, and here it is, right here. This purple part is me, and this whole part is her. She wrote this April 10th, 2016. I was homeless a month later, and at that time, I was really just writing my story about living with mental illness and how hard it was, and yeah. And so here's what she wrote. Hey love, how are you? I was inspired to write after reading some of your posts on Facebook and your fabulous blog. Don't know your journey thus far, but I feel our journeys are very similar and I might be of some support to you. I won't read this part, but she does go on to talk to me about her experience living with anxiety and things like that, which is a diagnosis that I have also. And the fact that she, like, again, I know how hard it is to talk about mental illness, and I've been doing this since 2016, and it's still hard. And this woman really shared her life with me with that struggle and how it affected her in the television business, because I was sharing a lot with people how it affected me. So she continues to say, over time, I wrote freelance and consulted and held a few positions here and there. She talks about how some things in the business really demolished her confidence. And then I realized that I needed to do everything I could to climb out of the darkness and to tap into the real me. I read a lot of helpful books. I started a fitness routine, developed an interest in holistic healing and even chakras. Long story short, I ultimately realized that period was the best thing that could have happened to me. I developed real self-esteem. Most people have fragile egos, like inflated balloons that can burst with the slightest prick. That's why people lose their jobs or divorce and lose their minds. Their identities are buttered by status and things. When you go through challenging times, it forces you to realize that even without all the things you thought you needed to be you are still okay. Because you're the sum total of your character, your knowledge, the way you treat people, your dreams, and not things. That's the most valuable lesson I learned. I also figured out what I really wanted to do in life, and it wasn't local news. And even when I felt my life was going nowhere, I realized now I was developing the skills I needed for my ultimate path. And relationships, they hit a brick wall. I started attracting creeps. Girl, I have stories. But when I took a step back and did the work, accepted the journey as a rite of passage, I can say that my love life is fabulous. Like I said, I don't know your story entirely, only bits and pieces. But I feel like we may have some things in common, and if you ever want to talk to someone, I'm here for you. I can just listen, offer some advice, and you'll never have to worry about confidentiality. I believe in sisterhood. I think you are amazing. And if there's any way I can help you in your journey. So I wrote her back that day, a couple of hours later, and she's really busy, so she wasn't able to read it. But I said, Ayesha, I'm so sorry it took me so long to write back to you. Thank you so much for sending this. I love this type of encouragement. I've had so much hate come my way from my blog and my new walk in life. I also had a lot of positive feedback, but I won't lie, the negative stuff hurts. But I'm growing a tougher skin. I'm blown away to hear about your anxiety. You always seem so together, but then I know how we all hide our stuff to stay on air, among other things. I said, girl, your journey is amazing. I'm currently living with my parents because I can't afford my condo after my depression, and I left my last station. I said, I read the Bible a lot, and I watch Joel Osteen, Joyce Myers, T.D. Jakes, and they keep me level-headed. I'm sad. I was depressed for almost 2 years, and I lost so much time. But I'm grateful that on one of my attempts, I worked my way back into God's arms. His love and grace has literally made me a new person, and that's why I don't go by my television name anymore. My parents are private people, and I totally feel like a new creature in Christ. God is so amazing. I'd love to meet you one day, or Skype or something, and let's stay in touch. I think we have a lot in common. And I just think the takeaway is that life is precious, yeah, and we're better together. Her just taking that time to say, I see you and I understand. In the sisterhood. And my roommate said today, she said, you know how you honor her? You live your life boldly and bravely. Today I landed a new PR client, and y'all, I'm so behind on so many bills. Like, I'm afraid they're gonna like repossess my car or something like that, but God's making a way. Like, every day I have to get up and believe in this dream that I can support myself with my business, you know what I mean? And I saw what Ayesha was able to do, how she was able to build her life back up after all of those adversities, and it gives me hope that I can do the same thing too. So if you see her story, please pray for her family and be the type of people who stop and pause and just be there for your fellow man. As we say here at Good Girl Chronicles, I love you, I love God more. I'll see you next time.